So, welcome to my channel. My name is Malaika, and today I'm going to be interviewing Janhavi Vartak. This is the third video in my series of interviewing women in tech to find out more about their careers. So, if you're interested in that, I'll link the first and second one up above. So, Janhavi is a product manager or PM at Facebook, which means that she works more like with people than on code, but she still gets to see the technical side of things because she works directly with engineers and data analysts and designers. So here's the interview. Hi, Janvi. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Malika. How are you?
I'm good. It's great to have you here. I'm working on a series of videos to demystify jobs in tech because I've seen there's a lack of knowledge among my peers. So do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Janhavi. I'm currently working as a PM at Facebook. That's product manager.
Yeah.
And I started the company through a program called the Rotational Product Manager Program, which essentially takes you in at an entry-level position and sort of teaches you the ropes of being a product manager and takes you through 3 rotations to give you a good sense of what it's like to be a product manager at Facebook. And then you go from there to having a full-time role. So that's the story.
Can you tell me a little bit about your current role and like what it means to be a product manager?
So I'm currently working on a team that helps small businesses run ads on Facebook. And the sort of mission that we're trying to accomplish is we're trying to help small businesses grow and scale through Facebook Inc. as a platform. Because Facebook is free and all of the tools are free, there's a lot of opportunity for small businesses to be able to grow their business without having to go through a website and creating a shop on their website. They can do all of that through Facebook. And the part that I work on is how can they run ads to get more people to take the actions that they want them to take. So how can they run ads to get more people to buy their products or get more people to sort of engage with their posts or get people to, attend their events and that kind of thing. So that's the product I'm currently working on. And my job involves working with a lot of different teams who either like build things for small businesses or build things in the space that we want to like make available for small businesses. So one good example is we work closely with WhatsApp because a lot of businesses in developing economies are like really they run their entire business on WhatsApp. And so like we work on WhatsApp to like build integrations into the Facebook ads product that we have on a page for a business. And that way a business can run an ad, for example, that allows people to click to WhatsApp. So they see an ad as a user, you see an ad, you click to WhatsApp, that takes you to WhatsApp with a phone number and allows you to start talking to the business, which we've been immensely valuable.
So what was your education like your degree and before that, I know.
So I went to Stanford and I did like a Bachelor of Science in a major called Science, Technology, and Society, which sounds really broad, and it was. I basically did a little bit of computer science, a little bit of design, and a little bit of humanities, so sociology, psychology, and generally social sciences. And the sort of principle behind the major is that they give you sort of the tools, not just to sort of do the core sort of engineering component, which is computer science, but they give you the tools to sort of be a holistic thinker in that space. So we did a lot of things like ethics in the field of computer science and things like that. Basically, empower you to be able to be a leader in that space through a knowledge of all of the sort of human interactions around computer science, in addition to like the core sort of computer itself. And the major actually has different streams for every engineering major at Stanford. So they have a computer science stream, which is what I did. But then they also have a biotech stream, and they have a like chemical engineering stream, and it's all the same concept. It's how can you take the sort of foundation of this engineering major and build on top of that with the humanities and the social sciences to give you a more sort of holistic approach to the way that you work in this field. When I took the major, I didn't even know that product management was something I could get into. I just really loved the concept of like a more holistic approach to a field rather than something specific and sort of deep in an engineering space. I really enjoyed the engineering bits, but I missed the people bit, and that's what this made company. But then when I graduated over time, I sort of found myself, I found out about the role and found myself really interested in it. That's kind of how I got into it.
So product managing is like managing the engineers and all that, right? So
Yes.
yeah.
As a product manager, you work really closely on a team with engineers, designers, data scientists, who else? A product marketing manager, usually researcher, and like depending on the product, then you have more people. But the idea is you have a bunch of people whose skills really do go deep, right? Like they're really good at what they do, either from an engineering standpoint or design or data science. And the idea as a product manager is, how do you take all these different sort of streams and put them together to build a good product? So how do you work with your data scientists to figure out what the right metrics are to measure success for your product? How do you work then with the engineering team and the design team to come up with projects that will then help your product do well based on the metric that you've come up with? How do you work with your product marketing manager to get all of the insights you need on business, in my case, on businesses, to be able to build something that you think will serve a real need? And you sort of, as a product manager, you put all of those things together to then come up with a roadmap for the team and then execute against that roadmap. So, you know, you say that we're going to like have projects for 6 months, and this is sort of how they'll line up. And then your job is to ensure that the projects line up. The other thing you do as a product manager, so that's very sort of short term.
Yeah.
You also long term. You think about, you know, given the space, given what we know about, again, in my case, businesses in this space, what should we be doing from now into like the next 2 to 5 years, help this team, and like help this team and help the target customer succeed. And so you come up with, in the long-term sort of strategy, you don't come up with projects as much as you come up with sort of a set of themes that you think the team should be focusing on over the next 2 to 5 years. And then those themes sort of dictate what you do over the next like 6 months and the 6 months after that.
So I know you worked on like ads for small businesses. Are there any other projects that you really enjoyed in the past that you can talk about?
That's a good question. Okay, so this is a more sort of technical one, but this is a really good example of, like, you know, work where there's a very clear customer need for it, and it's not something that necessarily fit with the team's goals at the time, but was something that like I thought would really make a difference. So I worked on a team called Catalog. And they essentially helped businesses upload all of their inventory to Facebook. So as a business, you have a log of everything that you sell. And your job is to keep that inventory as up to date as possible, so that when someone asks you how many bags you have, you can tell them how many are in stock and how many are out of stock, or which products are out of stock. When we run ads, we pull from inventory to give you the most refreshed inventory list possible. So we'll say, you know, like, here's a bag, and if we take you to the shop for that business within Facebook, we'll tell you how many are in stock. Now, what would regularly happen is the inventory that people would upload would be outdated, especially during like high ad seasons. And so high like sales seasons, like Black Friday or Christmas. People are doing a lot of shopping very quickly. And so it's hard to keep up with the inventory. Like, it's hard for the business to keep uploading Excel spreadsheets of their inventory, and for us to keep showing people the most up-to-date stuff. But then what would happen is a customer, like a potential customer, would click on an ad. They'd be like, yes, I want this bag. And then we take them to the website, and the website would say, oh, sorry, the bag's out of stock.
That's a problem.
That's a major problem. It's a major problem. This is a major problem for us. And it's a huge problem for the customer who like was genuinely interested in buying something. So I built something. I like sort of worked on it over 6 months with one engineer, where we built a technology where you could use, like, you know how websites have cookies, and the point of the cookies is to like give the business a good sense of like who to target for their ads. And it, like, Facebook has a version of that where we use the same, we call them pixels. We use the same and figure out which products to show to which people. The other thing you can use pixels for is ensuring that the data that's reflected on the website, for example, the stock price, the number of items in stock, or the price, or anything else, matches with the inventory that advertisers have uploaded. And so we built technology that essentially did that. It updated the inventory that we had based on what the website was reflecting, because the website was the source of truth. Because what was happening was businesses were taking this website, downloading the inventory from it, and then re-uploading it to Facebook. But then in that time, the data would have changed.
Stuff. Yeah.
So that allowed for like real time, like a real time sort of freshness in the data, in like the stock, in the sale price, in all of the stuff that matters to a customer when they're buying. And when we ran this in trial, we saw a 50% increase in the number of people who were able to successfully buy things as a result, which was really exciting.
Big. Yeah. So is there anyone who really inspires you in terms of like people in tech?
That's a really good question. So there are a couple people. There's the first manager I ever had at Facebook. She actually worked on the team that I work on now. And I've kind of, I kind of like, when I moved to this team, did so because I'd like heard so many great things about it from her, and I'd seen her do really great work. She essentially started with like one team that focused on emerging markets, and the idea was quite similar. It was just, how do you help businesses in emerging markets, usually small businesses, run their business? And she was able to sort of take that team and her learnings from the team to sort of grow the team into what we have now, which is a set of like 15 different teams that help businesses first set themselves up successfully on Facebook. So, get the things that you would need to be successful. So get a page. We give you feedback on like what kinds of information you should display on your page that customers care about, help you set up your shop, help you, like create posts and things like that people can engage with. And then once you're set up, we then teach you and show you how to run ads to grow your business. And she sort of set this up. She had this vision for it and like set it up over the course of her time on this team. She's not on it anymore. She's now moved to a different team, but like watching her sort of grow and scale the team to be what it is today, like it's a set of 15 teams that are essentially, we now have something like 9 million active businesses. And I think when she started, it was like maybe like 50 to 100,000. So she has like grown the team such that we've been able to increase the number of businesses on our platform, and we've been able to increase the number of advertisers who benefit from running ads. So I always thought that, and I watched her career from a distance because we weren't on the same team ever, but like it was always really cool to watch from a distance how she sort of worked in this space that I really cared about.
Is there anything you would have wanted to know about tech when you were in high school and like maybe didn't know what you wanted to do?
I didn't even consider it as an option because I didn't realize, I just assumed that it was going to be very like
sitting in front of a computer all the time.
Like very tech oriented. Like sitting. I didn't think there was much of a human component, and like I always really loved the human component in the things that I did. So like even when I was in high school, I wanted to do like I think I wanted to do environmental economics because I really liked the people aspect with the environment aspect, and I wanted to be able to like influence what people did to benefit the environment. And I'm kind of doing that same like overlap, right? I'm doing like the tech from a people aspect. So I wish I'd known that there was room in tech for people like me who didn't want to code, but who did want to work in tech and wanted to like apply their skills to tech.
Because tech is growing so much, and that's where the future is. Tech.
And like I don't think we do a very good job of like telling people there's so many aspects to being in tech that have so little to do with the actual sort of coding and so much more to do with how to like build effective products for people.
I've asked a lot of my friends why they're not interested in computer science, and they say it's because they don't want to sit in front of a computer all day. And like, I want to do this because I want to show people it's not.
Well, and what's funny is that even in college, in college, I did science, and like I didn't enjoy it. Like one, I don't think I was very good at it. I think there are people who are a lot better at it than I am. But I also think like I enjoy the problem solving aspect of it, and I wish that I doing that even if I wasn't good at the actual coding. And then I sort of ended up in this major because I had taken all these computer science classes and needed them to count for something. And then even when I graduated, I like talked to a lot of different people to figure out what to do. And that's when someone told me about this like magical thing. Like I was looking into user research and that kind of thing because I thought that that's how you get into like tech with like a human first background. But no, like you can work in the tech space on the technical side of product building, but without without necessarily like a super deep technical background. And that's what I learned over time.
And is there any advice you would give like people like me who might not necessarily know where to start, like in terms of wanting to do a tech career?
It's a good question. I mean, in some ways, you know, you guys have resources that I didn't have. Like,
Yeah.
I had a Facebook account, but didn't really use it. But like, the one thing that I think social media does give you is it gives you like access to all of these cool people in tech. Like, you can follow, you know, you specifically, if you're interested in getting into tech and like don't know what you want to do, like you can just Google like famous people in tech. Like you can look up different kinds of people and like look up their reviews. I mean, I had this, so like I can't say that I didn't have the internet. Obviously I had internet, so I could have done this too, but like you can look up like people who you think are doing interesting things in tech. Like Forbes 30 under 30 is a good place to start, and like start following them, start following their content, start following what they write on Medium, start looking at the kinds of things they say on Twitter or on LinkedIn, and use that to build a better sort of understanding of like a more specific understanding of like what kinds of things you want to work on. Like you can follow their work and you can say, okay, I know that I'm passionate about this space, and I know I'm passionate about like these kinds of jobs. And then it's just about talking to people. Yeah. Like I graduated without a job. And the way that I ended up in PM was I just like talked to like as many people as people would introduce me to. So I would ask friends and friends of friends to introduce me to people who they thought would be interesting to talk to who are working in tech. And then every time I spoke to those people, I would ask them to introduce me to 5 more people. I went to like happy hours hosted by companies that are like public events, that, you know, you have like meetups and things like that. And just like talked to people, asked them questions. And then one of my questions was always, who else do you think I should talk to? Mm-hmm. And like, that's a lesson I learned from my life. Like in those like 6 months where I was like trying to figure out what to do, like I paid so much more attention to the things that people were saying and the advice that they were giving me than I had probably like consciously done my entire life before that. And like, I've tried to do a lot more of that now, but it's also a lot harder to like maintain that level.
Yeah.
So it's so rewarding. So like those are the pieces of advice. It's like follow the people you think are doing interesting things. Use that to develop a clear perspective of like the kinds of spaces you want to work in and the kinds of jobs you want to do. And it's fine if you don't know the role for it, just describe the thing. And then, you know, attend events, like like London has so many cool like tech meetups and things like that. So like ask mom to take you, like go to tech meetups and like talk to cool people and just like ask them questions. And people really warm up to that. They really like sharing their experiences.
Okay, I think that's it then. Thank you so much. It was really fun talking to you.
This is awesome.
But yeah, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Malika.
So that was my interview with Janhavi. She was lovely to talk to, and thank you for watching. I hope you got something from it like I did, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.